Hello and welcome to Casting Roles, a persistent D&D campaign played by a bunch of theater nerds. Thanks for joining us. Before we begin, just a few quick announcements. If you're enjoying the game, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you think you know someone who might enjoy the show, please share over on social media. You can find us on Twitter at @CastingRoles and over on Facebook at CastingRolesILM. And if you want to go to one place where you can access our links and media and latest episodes and things, you can go to our website, castroles.com. But there are no further announcements, so let's go ahead and jump into the episode. So, ticket takers, upon returning victorious from your mission, every time, it's just literally every time.
That's never gonna get old.
Ever. It's just, and I'm not even.
It's funnier the more like climactic and epic battles we do. It's the name becomes funnier. Like the joke gets better with age.
I mean, you guys took some serious tickets last episode, so it's there. And I'm not even saying the full name because it's Ticket Takers Club. So. Alright, so upon returning victorious from your mission to acquire 3 writs of commendation and the money needed to establish the Adventurers Guild, you found Roland, the mayor of Broadfield, sorrowful. After very little needed persuasion, he let you in on the real issues facing the town. Under his leadership, Broadfield took out a 1,000 gold loan with a shady individual named Soren Nerida to pay for renovations and construction. After a few months, Soren began to move the date for the return payment up, until finally threatening to burn the town down if the money wasn't fully paid the next day. Agreeing to help the town with this issue, you set about preparing and finalizing a few threads. In this, you spoke with the Gnoll Split Ear, who you captured in your first journey together, and worked with the Lawmaster to establish a fair punishment for the Gnoll, who was caught in the workings of other members of his pack. He told you his pack had abandoned the Deepwood due to an invasion of Feywild Touch spiders and a particularly dangerous broodmother. Your preparations complete, the next day you waited with Roland and upon Soren's arrival, found a man bent on chaos and destruction in order to strike fear in the Riverlands in the name of the Tide Warders Syndicate. A quick knee to the testicles started a fight which ended with one of you... There you go. Briefly knocked unconscious, and then Mar, Saurus, and Abel dragged along with Soren into a shadowy realm copy of your own world. Striking Soren down, you managed to escape from the Shadow Realm before any of the creatures could descend upon you, and looting the bodies discovered several magical items and riches. So, ticket takers, as the chaos of battle dies down, letters are found, and the aftermath before you, what would you like to do?
So I want to make sure we got some gold, some silver, some copper. We got some gems.
There was some platinum in there too.
There was platinum. I didn't write that down.
Yeah, there was 5 platinum. I think Soren had 5 platinum.
Yes.
Okay, and the rapier.
I told the fucker I'd take his soul. We goddamn did it.
Her word. She keeps her word.
I cleaned my own blood off of Soren's sword.
I'm taking that back.
And now that you have a closer look at it, Mar, it's a beautiful rapier. It's this darkened steel. Almost like with this, it's this shiny, almost blackish steel. The hilt is has this beautiful silvered guard that kind of intricately ties around itself to guard your fist. You could punch somebody with it probably pretty well.
Oh yeah. No, I couldn't, but
Sorry, you could attempt to punch somebody with it.
It would go better than normal.
The actual grip is wrapped in this really supple, almost like soaking blood-colored leather, and the pommel is this kind of weighty piece of kind of pointed iron.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll start stacking the bodies.
Okay. eventually there's the lawmaster does appear, and he's kind of surveying the scene, and Roland pulls himself out of the trash where he lives normally, I guess, and he makes his way to the town square as you guys are stacking the bodies and going through all of the objects and things that you found.
I asked the lawmaster to speak to the 3 archers who were on the roof.
Yeah, what you want me to have them come down, or?
Yeah, I think we're safe now.
Okay, and so he kind of motions up, and you see them kind of disappear from the top of the watchman's burrow, and you see them come out and then go into the actual watchman's hold.
I stop them before they go in.
Okay,
and
yeah.
I give each of them a platinum.
Okay, they
participating.
Nice.
In the kill.
Yeah, they.
And then I give Roland 1. And it's like, and here's the tithes to the guild. And I keep the 5th one.
Okay, there you go. They all pocket and they kind of thank you. Not necessary but appreciated, and then they kind of head off to go put away their gear. Definitely more action than Broadfield has probably ever seen, and that these particular watchmen have probably ever seen as well. So you're there. Kind of going through, you've got all your items, you've gone through those. There were the 2 letters that you found as well. I don't remember who grabbed. You looted Soren, Mar, so you would have both of them. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you looking through those?
Yeah, I'll try to flip through them, read them if I can.
Okay, so one, when you pull it up, it's written not in... I mean, it's hard to kind of tell. It's not like written in like a cipher, but the way the words are constructed is a language that you don't speak. Cool. But the other one is written in common, and it's much shorter. It's written in a different hand than there's the longer letter that you can't read, and then the other one is written in a different hand, different script, and it just says, Pawn Shadow Stepper. Our cobbled friends expect your arrival at the end of the month. Once you've collected the metal, destroy any that remain and any evidence of our connection. Upon completion of this tax, I will inform the warden of our solidified partnership and your full membership in a priori. Ahriman.
I am going to hand that over to Saurus.
Right.
And the warden, can I assume that it's the warden from the town we saved from the flood?
Oh, you mean like the lawmaster?
Yeah.
Well, she called herself a lawmaster versus a warden, but I mean, you might make that connection.
To conclusions,
yeah,
possibly.
Yeah. But the yeah, just I will inform the warden, so you don't have enough detail there, but it does seem to connect to the elements, and you did find the witchwood pawn piece on Soren's body as well. Yeah.
I look at Marlowe.
Yeah.
How long do you think until we have a set?
I hope not long.
I feel the more pressing question is how many bodies until we have a set?
I mean, we could eventually find like one body with like 5 of them. I mean, you don't know.
That's very hopeful thinking for you, Mom.
Thank you.
All right. Abel, what are you checking out?
I'm just standing around helping us stack up the bodies and figuring out what's on. Oh, well, the first letter that we couldn't read, can I look at it and see if I can like help to decipher what it's saying?
Yeah, sure. You can go ahead and look at it. Roll an intelligence check.
Can I make an intelligence check to see if I know what language this might be?
Yeah, sure. Either both of you roll separately, or you could help each other.
You want to just both roll?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Cool. Oh, boy.
Investigation.
Ah, we shouldn't have done that, eh?
Just a general intelligence check. You're not investigating anything. You're trying to recall information. or to compare.
Yeah, we can do that.
6.
Yeah.
I
rolled a 3.
It does not share any commonality. Well, you speak Elvish. Yeah, it doesn't share any commonalities with any languages that you know.
Okay.
I got a 19 plus 4, 23.
Okay. God, just rub it in my face.
All right, so, and Abel, you speak Elvish or you speak... That's one of the languages you took?
Yes.
Okay, so being somebody who learned your language not from familial background, but rather from study, you have a much more archaic understanding of the Elvish script rather than conversational. And there are elements of this where there's certain words that you're like, well, that looks like a root in this ancient Elvish script. Like, almost like this is something that diverged from Elvish long ago and formed two completely separate languages. It's not enough for you to get any sense of meaning from it, but it looks like maybe familially, like this used to be connected to Elvish in some way.
Okay.
You should run that by the monk if he hasn't left town. See if he knows what it is, if you can read it.
Did he already return to the library? Is it the library?
Roland's nearby. He goes, yes, Herman, he had to go back to help set up for the Day of Ascension celebration tomorrow. So he returned to the monastery.
The monastery.
Yeah. It's not a long jaunt out of town, so it wouldn't, if you wanted to go visit, but he did leave town.
Okay. Since perhaps we should. Maybe. What time of day is it today?
So you guys woke up, had breakfast, and then kind of stood outside waiting for Soren's arrival for a few hours. I mean, I'm pretty sure the joke we made was that it was high noon when when the fight took place. So it's maybe now 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock maybe.
How long would it take us, I asked Roland, how long would it take us to travel to the monastery?
Oh, it's only 2 miles, I think. So an hour at most if you want to take a very leisurely stroll.
Okay. So to the group, I think we should probably go and see if we can have them help us to translate this letter.
Sure.
And at that time, the lawmaster comes back out from inside, and he is looking out over what you guys have done, and he says, "Oh, thank you for gathering those. I'll alert the grave master that we have some bodies to bury, I suppose. We are definitely very thankful for your actions in protecting the town."
Their tickets have been punched.
The ticket motif.
Sorry. I thought of it a second ago, and I couldn't. It's like, I've got to do it.
You make
I wish you would say that after doing a fury of blows on someone and go, your tickets have been punched.
Oh, there's still time.
we just homebrew it. It's no longer called Fury of Blows. It's just called the Ticket Puncher.
Oh God, that's so good.
Awesome.
Every 10 get a free pizza.
You have to read books for those, Kaimana.
I guess I'll ask the lawmaster before we leave. Is there anything that we could assist with before we head on our journey?
No, I think that you all have done enough. The grave master will handle the bodies, and the cleanup can. I've got 3 oafs in there, and who can help out in the cleanup. And so you're free to go. Yeah.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
All right.
So, as a group, do we want to head to the monastery?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I say we grab a snack from the tavern and eat on the way.
Okay. One of you goes back into the tavern, and Joss had laid out food from earlier for breakfast, and there's still some muffins and things sitting around, so you could each grab some stuff to There you go. You got some cheese.
On brand.
There you go.
Don't you have any meat pies?
No meat pies. Just you guys ate. You took all the bacon. Like you have pocket bacon still. So
Yes.
But if he eats it, it's no longer pocket bacon.
That's true.
It's just stomach bacon. We don't eat a lot of meat in Nuevia, so I've really enjoyed my time here with the meats in Alyria.
Moving along.
Really good.
So
We all go silent and it just cuts away.
we just do the Star Wars fade.
What's best about it is Grace's expression, because she was completely Mar in that moment. No, nothing to contribute.
Just gonna let you hang there.
Yeah. You're on your own.
Kaimana?
I was gonna say, I once heard that you can't beat Illyria's feet.
and now he's Star Wars fade. Yep. So you all have any kind of food items that you want that are left over, and Roland points the direction for you, and you're leaving north of town, which is along the riverbank.
Can we get like little to-go cups of milk?
Sure. You take there's no to-go cups, but there are some flagons that you take because I mean you're the Adventurers Guild. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of milk, so you take some, and you've got some refreshing milk and some nosh to eat on your little short journey. And as you exit town, the north side of town you haven't been out this way. It's beautiful. There's rolling hills. You can see off in the distance. There's a really nice fenced-in structure that has some cows grazing nearby, and the road here goes right along the riverbank. And so you're kind of walking, and it's a lazy little stroll, and about an hour later you come up over a hill and kind of down in an open area between two of the rolling hills. You see a fairly large stone structure. It has a domed roof at the center, and then kind of four wings that cut off out of the center of the dome to form a cross shape with the dome at the middle. Parts of the dome itself are glass and stained in various different colors, seemingly to represent, kind of the domains of each of the gods, perhaps. But most of the iconography around here is very much violet and connected to Metasansi. There's a few smaller buildings situated around the main structure that look like they might be small homes or a little bit larger dormitories or things like that. But as you approach, you start to notice that most of the people, there are a few people walking around, and they're all wearing robes very similar to Herman's kind of monk attire that he was wearing when you met him. You don't immediately see anybody that you recognize, but as you approach, somebody near the front entrance who's kind of sweeping up waves in your direction and says, "Hello! Welcome to the Monastery of the Third Eye."
I bow.
Oh, he returns the bow. Are you here for training, or are you here to peruse the library, or are you just visiting the grounds?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So,
all of the above, yes.
We here, as members of the Acumen, have an open policy. You are free to explore and view as much as possible. If there's anyone in particular you'd like to speak with or meet or need to talk with or need any help with anything, please just ask. Anyone wearing robes is here for your service.
Thank you. That is very generous of you. What was our guy's name that came to help us with the translation? Herman. I'll ask him. Do you perhaps know where Herman is? We have had dealings with him before and want to see if perhaps he could help us translate something.
Yes, I believe it's around 2. Herman would be giving a lesson to some of our entry-level monk initiates back in the training hall behind this part, like directly on the opposite side of the monastery from here, or the library from here.
Okay, so just this way.
Yeah, if you just follow, there's a little kind of a dirt path, and there's, you know, some kind of laid cobblestones on it, and he kind of follows. If you just go around this, it will take you around the library to the back, where the main monastery buildings are, and the largest of the buildings is the training hall.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you. And he bows again as you go, and he goes back to sweeping and kind of cleaning the area.
It's okay. Let us see if Herman is available, and then I guess we would have the free reign of the monastery to do as we please.
So as you guys walk around, you start to notice that there's a lot of activity towards the back of the monastery, and you see people putting up tents, stringing lights across the tents and from the main building to the tents. It looks like they're definitely getting prepared for the Day of Ascension festivities tomorrow, and you see them putting up banners with the symbols of Metasansi on it. And you see, you know, them kind of laying out tables and things, kind of like, you know, the Greek festival that's about to happen. All the preparation for that, and then you head around the back, and the monastery itself, which was the library, is a fairly large structure and blocked a lot of your view of what was behind it. But the laid out behind, you see a large building that has open air doorways that just seem to allow flows of air through them, and you can hear now as you get closer, coming from inside, the sound of people training. And then around this building, you see smaller structures that look like little yurts or huts where maybe the initiates or sleep or things like that, but those are training areas. As you approach that central area, you can see inside Herman. He has his top robe off, and he's just shirtless from the waist up. Ripped muscles. His tattoos that went up his arm curve down onto his chest, and in the light gleaming through, you see that they shimmer and they kind of shimmer in the light. His tattoos do. And he's guiding 3 or 4, maybe 12 or 13-year-olds through a basic kata. And he's guiding them through, and he does notice that your approach, and he motions for you, but he keeps going through. And then after a moment, he kind of looks over and he says, Devin, guide them through the next step. And then he moves aside and kind of grabs a cloth and dabs sweat and puts the cloth over his neck, and he walks up and he bows, looking at you all, and says, welcome. It's good to see you all again.
May I join in the exercises?
Oh, I'm sure this is beyond your capabilities. They're just doing some basic things, but please feel free.
Always start with the basics.
Mm-hmm. And
Mar?
Yeah.
Abel?
I'm
Kana?
not going to beat up 12-year-olds.
No.
I'm 11.
God, that makes so much sense.
It's pretty old.
If y'all will excuse me, I leave things in your capable hands, and I will go over and join in the katas.
Okay. Yeah, and they're doing.
I'm splitting the party.
Yeah, their kata.
Turn on us.
Soren appears. He attacks you.
Their kata structure is similar to what you learned at the Monastery of the Four Winds, but different enough that it's kind of like when you're learning like a line dance for the first time, but you're still a skilled dancer. It takes you a couple click-throughs until you're in sync with them, but then you're there, and they are not taken necessarily aback by your presence, but they are definitely like interested in this tall rat who has joined them, as Herman kind of pulls the other of you aside and says, is there some particular reason why you've visited, or are you just perusing the grounds today?
Do you happen to know what language this is? Or can you read it? That'd be really cool. And I hand him the letter.
He looks at it.
Right in there.
I feel like this is not in my wheelhouse. There's looks like there might be a bit of elvish, ancient. Perhaps.
What? Really? I look at it.
Still not.
I don't see it.
Perhaps undercommon. The drows, Yes, we do have. I'm trying to think who would be able to. Vitorum probably would be able to read it. I'd be happy to take you to meet him. He's the headmaster here, but again, we are very open to anybody else. He's probably sweeping, as far as I know. Would you like me to introduce you?
Yes.
Good. He goes and grabs his robe and throws it on, and he says, "And I've got something. Roland asked me to have something copied for you, and I will put you in Vitorum's hands, and then I'll go to get it. I don't want to forget now that I've seen you." So he kind of guides you in, and you go into.
And as they go off, I'll rejoin the party.
Okay. And the little 11-year-olds kind of break for a second, and wave at you, and then like without even turning around and noticing them, Herman says, "Return to your studies," and they immediately snap back into their kata and go. And then Herman goes, and you go into the main library through what you guess would be a back door, but because this structure is very symmetrical on all sides, it's just another doorway. And there's a moment of light bleed where when you're going from a bright day to an interior space where your eyes have to adjust. But the moment you step in, you don't get a full sense of the scale, but this is a beautiful building. And the moment you enter in, that rectangular kind of hallway that leads to the central dome portion is lined with books, and you can see into the dome area, and that just looks like a circular room that is floor to ceiling books up to where the dome is. And you see a few people walking around carrying books that they're shelving, and every single one of them has a small silver fox that walks with them. And as you kind of walk by, Herman nods at each of them, and then you enter into the actual main structure, the domed portion, and it's this probably 50-foot tall, 60-foot tall dome ceiling. From the center hangs an orrery of the solar system that Alyria is part of, and it's slowly rotating around a central representation of the sun. Anor, and it's giving off these magical rays of light that kind of shoot off in all directions as the planets are orbiting around it. The stained glass on the like Hamada's face, yeah. The stained glass on the ceiling. Oh no!
Oh no!
I'll wait till he comes back to finish, because Lord, shiny things and flashy lights.
Shiny.
By the way, my mental picture of Herman is as Tenzin.
Yeah, he's imagine Tenzin, but with darker skin and dreadlocks and but very but his tattoos.
He's still voiced by J.K. Simmons.
Oh yeah. All right. Where did we lose you at, Wib? The ceiling? Okay. So the stained glass on the ceiling, you can now see from interior that each of the stained glass portions has a symbol of one of the gods, and there's 8 stained glass portions. There is a 9th portion that looked like it maybe used to have stained glass and has since been covered. But the other ones are all color coordinated to the gods and have the symbol of the fire or the trees or the waves or the diamonds or things like that. And it's causing this rainbow kaleidoscope of light to shine down on the floor, which is this beautiful mosaic tile. And at the very center is basically a circulation desk, because this is a giant library, but it's on this raised platform, beautiful mahogany, polished, circular desk that wraps around the whole central dais, and sitting in the center of it is probably the first that you've ever seen, Soros, for sure, and definitely Kaimana and Abel would never have seen this, is a loxodon. Wearing the exact same robes as everyone else, but this large, imposing elephantine figure. And he's got these beautiful beaded necklace, and he has these large golden earrings in his ears, and he's got like jeweled bracelets around his trunk, and he's just sitting there with a book, and he's using his trunk to kind of flip through the pages. And Herman walks up, and the moment the elephant or the loxodon is aware of Herman's presence, he nods. He says, "Herman, good to see you. Who do you have?" And Herman says, "Vitorum, these are the members of the Adventurers Guild, the ticket takers that you've probably heard so much about." And Vitorum bows and says, "Welcome to our library."
Bow in return.
I've heard such amazing things about you. We are a people of knowledge and learning. I would love to have someone interview you to get your story for our records. If that might be something you'd be amenable to.
Yes.
Good. And he kind of looks down at the book that he's reading, and he flips it, and then there's some paper that he's taken notes on, and he says, "I'll have Jonathan reach out if you're planning on being around the monastery today for some time. But I believe you are here to get my aid. How may I assist you?"
Yes.
I slide the letter over to him. Do you know what that says?
Yeah, you put the letter down on the counter, and his trunk reaches out and grabs it, and he kind of pulls it up and raises it to his eyes, and then he reaches up with his hand and lowers he was wearing reading glasses. He lowers another pair of reading glasses over the first set of reading glasses, and he's like, "Oh yes, this is Undercommon. A fine dialect, not very well spoken in most parts of Alyria. Do you know that in the 8th century, Undercommon separated from the original Elvish," and he starts droning on, and for a moment, and Herman clears his throat and he says, I don't think they need the lesson on the history of Undercommon," and Vitorum goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Its language is so fascinating, you know. So yes, I can read this. Would you just like me to I can write out a quick translation for you."
Yes,
and he sees Abel nod, and he whips out from a kind of a satchel nearby a nice quill and a fresh piece of parchment, and he starts writing out the translation. And hold on one second, and I'll send it to you on the chat. And then, who wants to be the one who gets it back?
I think that would be Mark, since she...
Yeah, I'll take it back.
Okay, so...
Held on to it this long.
I'll send it to everybody, but I'll have Mar actually be the one who reads it, so...
Oh, good. I'm reading out loud for the class. Mar's favorite thing to do.
If you want to read it out loud, you don't have to.
I'll read
Why
it.
do you think I had it sent to you?
Alright, let me get the video back up. Alright, so after a moment he finishes his translation and he slides it back across to you and he says, "My, you're such an interesting group. I have not seen a Lutrian in these parts before. What brings you all the way from the Vanishing Isles to the Riverlands?" Oh, yes. I've heard that the Lutrians are very, they need adventure in their lives to live happy and exciting ones.
Yeah, that's true enough.
Good. Well, it's nice to see you. It's interesting. And you, sir, I believe are Nuavian, as I can tell from your ancestral necklace there.
Yes, I am from Nuavia.
Hmm. How have you enjoyed your time on the mainland?
It has been an interesting culture to learn. I'm excited to travel and learn more.
I've always wanted to go to Nuavia, but it's such a hard place to get to unless you have an aircraft or want to sit on a boat for a while, which I do not.
It's true. Not many Alyrians visit us. It is a shame. I think our cultures could learn much from each other.
I definitely agree. We've been trying to get the acumen a hold within your country. I know that the cloister has already established its own secondary schooling system there, but the acumen would love to have an inn. I don't suppose you have the ability to speak to those in power in Noavia, but it would be so beneficial if the free exchange of knowledge could be passed from one country to the other.
I do not believe I have that type of influence in me, but I'm sure if it is meant to be, it will happen one day.
Well, unfortunate, but yes, perhaps it can begin with your kind words whenever you return home, that you were welcomed here and that you were, blessed with the gift of knowledge.
Perhaps.
And he turns at last, Soros, to you, and he says, I do not mean to be rude, but you are not something I know, and I have a very long memory and know many things. Can I ask your origins, Soros?
Yes.
You don't have to tell him if you don't want.
I am a lab rat.
That is not a term that I am familiar with necessarily. That is your cultural. Oh.
I was a regular rat in a lab who was magicked and machined into this.
He kind of leans for the first time. He's had this air of confidence and assuredness, not arrogance in any way, just like an intense desire to understand and learn from each of you and get to know each of you in a weird way. Like, he hasn't asked any of you your names, but he's interested in your identities. And he leans back for the first time, disquieted by what you said, and he says, that sounds like a breach of nature.
It was not a pleasant experience to go through.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to prevent anyone else from having to experience it.
It is such a thing to be one that is a victim, who instead turns to be protector of others. I would like to honor you as a fellow monk, but also to perhaps aid you on this mission. The acumen are all about the extension of knowledge and the protection of order. Herman, perhaps you could offer him some training in some art of our own. And Herman nods and he says, if he's open to it, I think I have something that I could probably teach him that he doesn't already know. Would that be something you would be interested in? Oh, good.
Absolutely, and I am honored.
Good. And I know that the Four Winds focuses more on the manipulation of chi as a way of harming or asserting yourself within another person's space, shoving them away from you or diminishing their ability to harm or attack you. Our form of fighting focuses more on knowing your enemy, and perhaps we can aid you in that, which might help you in knowing the enemies that you face in the future.
Thank you.
Good. All right. So Marv, you had an opportunity to.
Yeah, I did read it. Jesus Christ. Should I read it out loud?
It depends on when Mar wants to share it with everybody else, or.
I'm not gonna say it in front of these guys.
Okay. And
I'll just kind of pocket it and for right now.
Good.
And go. Thanks.
Good. Yes, and I must get back to my studies, but any of the librarians around would be happy to help you if you are interested in any research or need help with anything. Herman has offered some training. You may dedicate some time to that if you'd like today. The grounds are open to you. I do ask that you perhaps allow those setting up for the Day of Ascension the space that they may need. I would hate for, lanterns to fall on your head or things as such. But, as always, this space is open for you. We welcome you to the monastery, and we thank you.
May I ask, when do the celebrations begin?
Well, the Day of Ascension celebrations are all day. They begin in the morning. We will have performances throughout the day, various readings. We have a band, I believe they're calling themselves, from Club Orphidia in the capital city, coming to play some new form of music that apparently has never been premiered before. We have Herman here. Electronica, yeah. EDM. Herman here will be performing his poem on the story of the Nine and the fall of the stranger. It's quite a riveting poem, if I do say so myself.
We'd be sure to attend that.
We have a theater troupe of changelings who are performing. I believe that they are. Oh yes, and he keeps a thing of notes that he keeps flipping through. They're performing the play of the Abyss Lord, one of the first keepers who killed one of the first Lightbringers during the subversion. So this tale of star-crossed lovers who were betrayed, but changelings, so it should be an interesting peek. We also, apparently, Madame Mesmira will be doing her yearly fortune tellings. We will have some food stalls and things, and then this year's special, we have the artificers from the Halls of Origination are coming to do a fireworks spectacle. It'll be an exciting day of Ascension for us all, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a great time. I believe we came at the exact correct time.
Yes, well, right? Tomorrow would be the correct time, but yes, that is true. Mm-hmm.
Perhaps we will stay until tomorrow.
Oh, yes. I mean, we are open all day and night. Yes.
Do you have quarters that we could sleep in?
Oh,
if that's not too forward for me to ask.
I don't know, which is rare for me to be the one that not notes things. I'm not the quartermaster. I will ask, and I will find the information for you.
I'm fine sleeping outside.
Yeah. And at that moment, Herman kind of remembers, and Herman runs off out the library towards the back. He meant to grab something for you all, and he forgot. So he remembered to go back and grab it. But at that moment, Vitorum kind of looks over each of you, nods, in his own silent way of thanking you for your attention and your conversation. And then, not meaning to be rude in any way, just the way that he behaves, he immediately goes back to flipping through and reading his book.
That is fine. We should leave him to his work. Maybe we should find Herman?
If Herman is coming back here to find us, we should remain, and this will let Kimana experience the orrery.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Kaimana, as you're looking around, it's basically a 3-floor central structure with balconies going around the center, so that it's open all the way up to the top. On the 3rd floor, the balcony's not far from the orrery. You could probably get a pretty good look at it from there.
Let's see. Do we want to go up and get a closer look?
I'll be right back.
Why don't we all go? Why don't we all walk up and see?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm kind of interested.
As you guys are heading that way, Herman is running back in, and he's catching up with you. And hold on, I'm flipping. And he pulls out he has a leather carrier for looks like a scroll carrier, maybe this big or so. And he untops it, and he pulls out, and he says, sorry, Roland asked me, I think he mentioned that one of you was talking about maps, and he asked if we had a copy of an Alyrian map, and we had an original, but I had somebody make a quick copy over the last couple days. So this is actually for you. It's a gift from Roland as a congratulations for joining the Adventurers Guild.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Hold on one sec. I'm gonna pop it in the. So this is also something that you guys have access to.
Ooh.
Where is it? Oh, there it is.
Ooh.
All right, and then let me pop it here. All right. So yeah, so he pulls up the map, and so when you unroll it, you see it's a fairly quickly scrawled, but has all the major locations labeled, and the regions kind of color coded or coordinated. Yeah, so you all are in Broadfield, which is in the Riverlands, which is kind of the large area on the right hand of the map is the Deepwood, and Broadfield is kind of just slightly northwest of that.
Okay. See why it is called the Riverlands.
Yep. Just stage left of center.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, thank you. We appreciate you gifting this to us. It's very generous of you.
Yes, and also I had one other. I remembered also, Soris, that you had asked me to research a name. Is that correct?
Yes.
You asked me about Ahriman, I believe.
Yes.
So I did do a little bit of searching around. The only reference to Ahriman that I found, and he hands over to you a written note that has all this that he says, but he says there's only one major reference, and it was in the mythological references of the Subversion, that Ahriman was one of the sons of Sumat, who's the dragon, the dragon of Metasansi. There were three sons of Sumat. There was the trickster, the architect, and the poet, and Ahriman was the architect. But during the Subversion, he and his brothers went into battle against Javaraya, the shadowy black dragon that the stranger had corrupted, and they flew into the Vale and were never seen again. So it's interesting that name would pop into modern times. It's been disappeared from the record for over 300 years.
Yes.
Peered into the veil, you said?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Dragons.
Yes, dragons.
They are terrifying creatures. Into the veil. Okay.
But I must get back to my class if there's nothing else that you all need. Soros, you're more than welcome to go with us, and I can lead you in some of the training and see what your interests are and your current abilities. Everyone else, of course, is free to peruse if you would like to spend a few hours with me.
I think Kimanov's going to go check the orrery.
Oh, well, the stairway to the third floor is, and he kind of points, and he's back in that direction. He says, feel free to go up. The third floor balcony is a great view of the orrery for sure.
And I will follow with Herman.
Okay, so Herman and Soris head off back towards the main hall. Are the three of you all heading up to the third floor?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to see the...
Sure.
Mart, I don't know.
Mar is thrilled beyond any rational means of expression.
No, Mar just read an upsetting letter.
Oh no. Well, yeah, I figured we'd go to the 3rd floor and like speak privately about what he translated.
Okay. All right. So you guys get up there, and
Soren.
Aside from passing a few librarians, all with their silver foxes, you...
Where are these foxes? I'm so interested in these foxes.
Each librarian has not a full size, like a diminutive, but obviously not kits either. They're full-grown foxes. They're just smaller, and they're silvery in color rather than the red or white that you might normally associate with foxes.
Are the foxes like familiars? Are they actual foxes or are they fey creatures?
Roll a nature or an arcana check.
I will do arcana. That's my biz right there. All right. 16 plus 6, 22.
Okay. One walks by and you're studying it very closely, and you watch it, and it's moving like a real fox. It gives off the essence of real fox, but there's a moment when it gets to a shelf where it kind of like gets up on its hind legs and pushes a book in with one of its paws and then pops back down. And you're like, that's not a real animal. They're probably fey in nature in some way. And they kind of have a magical essence to them. Yeah.
Perhaps a spell. Okay, it's very interesting.
Right. You all get up to the 3rd floor balcony. There's not a lot of traffic up here. Most librarians are kind of seem to be around the circulation desk area in the 2nd floor. But now you're kind of level with the orrery. And it does show, I mean, the central sun, there are 7 planets in the solar system. And kind of the 2nd planet from the sun is, Abel would know for sure this information, is Alyria. You can see its 2 moons, the larger Rylal and the smaller Selenal, like kind of in the background of it, rotating around. But the whole system is slowly rotating in the space. You also notice now, getting close to the dome, that from the ground you couldn't quite see it, that the whole thing also functions as a clock. That where Alyria is marking the hours of the day as it moves around the central location.
This is amazing. I wonder if... Let me check my magical tinkering.
You can make an image, a static image of it.
I want to make a moving image.
I mean, you can. That'd be fine.
I don't think it will. I think it's just a static image is what it says.
I'll allow it. It doesn't harm anything, so.
Yes. I just think it's be something cool to look at and like investigate before I like go to sleep or something.
Okay.
I'll maybe reach into my pocket or my bag of holding and pull out like one of my little knickknacks, a ball bearing or something, and I'll enchant it with this image.
Okay. So you all watch as as Abel is doing this, and this takes a little bit of time. So Kaimana, how are you dealing with being up here?
It's just like enthralling for him.
Yeah.
It's like white knuckling it, just like
It's like preventing himself.
I'm just hoping he doesn't like jump out into the middle of it.
Right.
I keep wondering if is like to the point where he has to roll a wisdom saving throw, but I think he's probably smart enough not to jump over the balcony.
No, we wouldn't let him. So I guess we asked Mar, like, what did the letter say that he translated for us?
Oh,
Oh yeah, we were here for.
yeah, I guess I'll just tell Source later. I mean, this is kind of his whole thing, but whatever. I'll just tell him later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I pull it out, and I read. Let's see how long I can do Mars voice for. Watcher Shadow Stepper, your reports from Broadfield are met with much hope of success. A foothold in the Riverlands would be a boon for the youth of our organization. Failure to sway the corrupt Mr. R was a setback that this may cure. Ensure RL's full compliance with our demands and agreement to our terms. If you do, you will be in line for a move to one of our more pressing areas of concerns. If he cannot be swayed, make an example of his town. We can shift Riverland operations elsewhere. The current update for Pond's Eyes. Your transfer could find yourself overseeing one of these important missions. And then it's like bullet pointed out. So the Feldspar mission is going as planned. Mines 80%, Foundry 100%, airship en route with envoy from the Isles. Success in locating the Tide Bonds, 2 of 4 recovered. 1 is rumored to have traveled to Feldspar. Partnership with the High Dragon nearly solidified. Finding the bonds and capturing the wave will finalize our joint efforts. The Warden's provisional membership must be fully realized for our continued success. If you want to be more than a pawn, we must keep him interested. The rogues still present a challenge in establishing transport through the rift, no closer to locating their full operation. I expect your next report by the end of the month. Remember, power is too great a thing to share. The voice of the Warden, a priori.
Right. And we'll wait for Atwood to come back for in a moment to break it down.
Break it down.
And
break it down.
Just for clarification, because I realize also that it might be a font thing, it's not Mr. in the first line, it's MR.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, just like the RL. Well, it's also a weird font, but yeah.
No, it's okay.
I assume
okay,
RL
so
was Roland.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was full compliance with our demands and agreements and terms, and like if he doesn't, just burn us down. Yeah, that's Roland.
Yeah.
But we don't know MR necessarily.
Have we met an MR?
Anybody who would like to on that on that particular question, go ahead and roll a history check.
Wait, I want to see if I can find it in my notes.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
I want to see. Hold on.
I think we have. What was that lady?
Hold on. I'm wondering if it's that Lawmaster.
It is.
Notes! I have my notes!
Okay. All right. Yeah, corrupt MR in your head. You're getting a flash MR. You have met Muriel Redleaf. She seemed kind of corrupt. You don't know, but you make that connection.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get her, though.
I believe they're still working to get her. From the way the letter sounds.
Failure to sway the corrupt MR was a setback that this may cure. Maybe she's already working for someone else?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel if they couldn't sway her, it says maybe more about their ineptness.
Yeah, maybe they're just a really shitty fucking organization. With all of their plans except one seeming to go super great.
Come on, can you say that again?
I was gonna say I have all confidence in us, but we did beat them our first time out of the gate.
Well, we were also fighting a guy who was being considered for membership, I think.
Yeah, he was.
So I think he's literally their lowest rung.
Oh, you're right.
And they are, DM remind me, they are part of the Tide
Warders Syndicate.
I can't say that.
I took notes.
So, looking at the kind of thinking about the letter, the voice of the warder at the end, like that, kind of speaks to that element.
Yes.
And then there's also the reference in the middle of the letter of like, but it's. Go ahead and roll just a general intelligence check so I can see how much what kind of connections you're building in as able.
I do recall that in my session 0, I guess I'll tell the group, 16 plus 4, 20.
Yeah, so immediately you see like, you're noticing that there are 2 distinct organizations that keep being referred to. You see a priori is being referred to, but then it's also the warders are being referred to, and that there's that note that the warden has provisional membership. So it seems like there's like a bond that's trying to be created between these two organizations, the warders and a priori.
And the a priori, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll tell the group that I had a encounter with a band of sea bandits who contract with the Tide Warders. When we were coming from Nuevia on our airship, we were attacked and stranded on an island, and we ran across these sea pirates who gave myself and a couple of other passengers from the airship a ride to the mainland, while the rest of the party stayed behind to repair the airship. And that was the Sea Blade. Wait, let me make sure. I gotta read my notes because I don't want to.
That's correct.
Yeah, that was the Sea Blade crew, and apparently they were on a mission for the Tide for this group.
Warder.
Is it RD or AT?
It's not AT. I just can't say it. Tide Warders.
I mean, it makes sense. Like in your brain, you want to say Tide Water. I get it.
Okay, they were on a mission for them, and as payment for passage to the mainland, we had to help them infiltrate some ancient temple, and they retrieved some magical stone or an artifact, but I couldn't get much information. All I know is it had a symbol on it, which I recognize as the symbol of the ebbing tides. But the ship captain was sure to keep this. It was like a large gem. She was sure to keep it away from me where I couldn't get a good look at it.
Yeah, it was a circular gem with a pulsing glow on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it was obviously magical. I'm wondering if this is the what did it mention?
The Tide Bonds.
Yeah, the Tide Bonds.
I'm not there. I can't speak. Never mind.
You can.
Yes. Well, I say to the group, I dropped the accent, but I say to the group, I'm wondering if this is one of the Tide Bonds that this letter is referring to.
Might make sense.
And why are they
have one? Well, they have two.
Out of the four, yeah.
Mar and Kaimana and go ahead and roll just a history check. And Abel, you can too.
Okay. I'm not too bad at history.
Is it about gang fiends or undead?
No.
I didn't think so, but I get advantage, so I have to ask.
You, because of your training, could choose religion if you'd rather.
I would much rather choose religion.
Okay.
Thank you.
I got a 9 + 4, 13.
Okay, Kaimana, what was yours?
I'm still.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
All the shiny.
That's
all
so
the
cute.
Mine is a 16. Yes. Okay.
Okay. With a 16, Tide Bonds are directly tied to Suvenar.
Suvanadid dragon.
No, Suvenar is the god of water, time, and the moon. But their city was the city of Azalor, which was on the bottom of the ocean. It was this beautiful domed city, but after the subversion, it sealed itself off from the outside world. And the keys that it sealed itself with were called Tide Bonds. And
Jesus!
Oh
no!
And there are four. You know from religious studies of Suvenar that there are 4 Tide Bonds. Why this is important for Suvenar is that Suvenar's temple is in Azalor. So like their main location is in Azalor. It's also rumored as the last known location of the of Suvenar's dragon, which my name just left my brain. But you don't know that the dragon. All the dragons have like subtitles. Like Sumat's is the third eye. His dragon or their dragon is the crashing wave.
Kraken.
I'm trying to pull up the. I can't change the window or I lose the video, but I'll pull up and I'll get the dragon's name for you as well, so you got that, Mar. But you're immediately making those connections. Kaimana, what was your history on that?
I rolled a 1.
That's correct.
It's shiny.
The dice tell the story.
Yeah, you heard shiny shimmering stone with like a symbol on it, and you were like, that sounds really pretty.
What can I say?
It is.
In honor of very simple.
I might.
So Mar, tell us
Sorry.
what she.
Yeah.
The dragon is Naginda, the crashing wave. Mm-hmm.
It's like a snake. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to.
We're in a giant library right now. I'm gonna go research.
Okay.
Some more of these dragons.
Okay, you want to split up and see what we can find?
Yes, but I will research the dragon if you want to research the underwater kingdom.
Okay.
Okay. So Mar, you're
going to cross.
Mar walks away and immediately does not look that up.
Okay.
What we just talked about. Mar's gonna go do something else.
all right. So Abel, you're going to do a search on the dragons or specifically Naginda?
The dragon. I'm going to start with Naginda, but the dragons in general interest me.
Okay.
After I run in with the crazed deep woods dragon, I'm kind of
Tiernan.
shooketh.
Yeah.
Tiernan, you have
Well, he was the son of somebody.
Derevo.
So
Yeah.
maybe his dad's cooler than he is.
His dad's been asleep for a long time. All right.
So yeah, I'll go off and research the dragon, starting with Naginda, and then, much like a regular Google search, see where it leads me.
Okay. So go ahead and roll an investigation check, Abel, and then Mar, what are you looking up or looking for?
Okay, so I guess I will research the underwater city that I didn't write the name down of.
Azulor.
Okay.
In my mind, it's Atlantis.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
But I also
When I describe it, it's actually more like the city in BioShock. Which I can't remember the name of.
I want to go to their. I want to see if they have like a curse breaking section here.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll 2 intelligence checks. The first one will be for Azalor. The second will be for Curse Breakers.
Yeah, that's on brand. I wasn't actually really interested in Azalor. So my first one is an 11.
Okay.
My second one is a. I was just looking at it. It's 5, so 15.
15. Okay. Good. And then, what was your roll for Naginda?
17 plus 6, so 23.
Jesus. Okay. Good. All right. And Kamana,
God.
what are you just kind of chilling out?
So smart.
No, I will never roll this good again.
Kamana just chilling out with them, following them around.
Yeah.
Oh, if Kaimano was
Tag along
following me, I would try to ditch him before I went to curse breaking.
Okay. I don't like so.
Can I stealth?
Yeah, go ahead and roll
Can I
a stealth.
away?
Roll a stealth check. And
I just see Mar going, look, shiny!
yeah. Kaimana, are you actively following Mar, or are you just kind of like walking with her as you kind of check out the scenery?
Well, how obvious to me is it that she's trying to lose me?
Let's see what my stealth is.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll a perception check, Kaimana, just as you're walking around.
I got a 22 for stealth.
Jesus. So perception, that's your break. 8?
Perception.
18. So you're focused on Mar, but there's a moment where like there's like a glint of light from the center of the room, and you're like, what was that? And you see like this beautiful like the sun at the center of the orrery, like a planet moved in front of it and then popped out, and it's like this beam of light kind of not blasted, but came in your direction, and you're like, oh wow, and then you turn around and Mars not there anymore. Abel is like over on, you can see him across the way. He's on the opposite balcony. So like you can see Abel, but Mar is gone.
Abel!
I love that he has this implication that Kaimana doesn't have object permanence. Like, Mar disappears and he's like, Abel?
Anymore. I'll say we'll find you some nice books on fishing, yeah?
All right.
I'm gonna go look for Mark.
All right. We'll come back for the results of your rolls. Meanwhile, Soris.
I think I also would want to research like. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want to.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back if there's any additional topics or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So Soris. So Herman leads you back to the trading hall, and as kind of the hour passes, the three the youths that were there trading, they're now cleaning up the area.
What is a youth?
Yeah, they're cleaning up the area and like putting away mats and things. And so Herman says, depending on how long you have, there's a few things that I can potentially teach you, but the greatest skill is how to use your knowledge and intellect to connect with the chi of another creature and gain knowledge of themselves. So here, let me kind of show you. And he goes over to a dummy or whatever, and you can see that this dummy has elemental kind of carvings all over it, like runic languages, and he kind of presses on a part of it, and these runes like light up, and he says like, okay, just hit it anywhere you like.
I do.
Okay, go ahead and roll just a general attack on the dummy.
Nat 20.
All right, go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. Damage. 6.
6. Okay. So that's doubled.
No. That's 6 and 7.
Okay. So you clock this dummy, and you think like you're kind of showing off a little bit for this new teacher, and it's this beautiful punch. It's in all the ways that, like, you know, it should be the cleanest kick. You feel like you should knock the head of the dummy clean off, and you impact, and it's almost like the dummy absorbs the energy, and it doesn't move, it doesn't shake, it doesn't stutter. It is undamaged by the punch. And he says, so, sometimes when we encounter an enemy and we put our weight behind our hits or we attack, it is ineffectual. Would it be good to know those things before we waste that energy?
Yes.
So you see him he kicks out with one punch against the dummy, and then you see a very similar motion to what you do with your flurry of blows, and he hits, which you've noticed the kind of the maneuver is what what you use to activate your key attack to limit somebody's abilities or to knock them away from you. And when he hits that last motion, you almost see like the energy of his key pop into the dummy for a second, and then when he pulls back, it's almost like a hook that kind of goes back into his hand, and it flashes in his brain, and he's like, immune to bludgeoning damage. Would this be something that you would like to learn?
Yes.
All right. So what he offers you, Source, is there's an ability. It would be an add-on ability to your third level ability, where when you do Flurry of Blows, you can make a decision or a choice.
Yeah.
He offers it's called Extract Aspects. You can find it under the Way of the Cobalt Soul monk subclass. But basically what he tells you is that there are 4 components to this skill. There's the ability to learn a creature's damage vulnerabilities, their damage resistances, their damage immunities, or their condition immunities. You can choose to learn all 4 of them. It would take 8 days to learn all 4. If you could spend 2 days with him, he could teach you one of them. So at some point when you have a little bit of when there's some downtime, you could come and he could spend 2 days with you, and you could learn. If you only wanted to know the vulnerabilities, you could learn the vulnerabilities. But over the course of 8 days, he could teach you all 4
Oh, we're doing 8 days.
Okay. Yeah. And he said, like, through his conversation with you, it's something that he can teach you piecemeal. So, like, let's say, like, you have 2 days coming up that you could use. Like, you guys know that the guild master is coming in like 3 days. So there's a period of time where you could spend a couple days with him here, and he could train you one element of it. But then, like, later on, you could come back if you wanted to and learn the other ones.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah.
Learn them all. That'd be so useful.
Right as hell.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
And that's just not my ability, but I'm just curious because I am. He had, like, every hit you can learn one, like either the condition immunity or.
No, the way Extract Aspects works is if your Flurry of Blows lands, you can choose if you want to extract aspects, and just like Soros has the ability to choose if his Flurry of Blows lands to do other things, he can choose to do this too. If he learns this ability,
and it'll give all that information.
It would give him, if he knew all 4 parts of it, it would give him all 4. But if he only learns one of them, it would give him the one. Yeah.
So one blow would give me as much as I know, rather than one blow per fact.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. One blow per. Okay, that is cool.
You learn all of them, and we were all fighting, and Source is just screaming a paragraph of information about the enemy at us. I really love that.
No, what you see is one night, and then disengage and run. When that happens, it's your turn to run as well.
Just looking like what's going on.
All right,
and I love
And so for the kind of the rest of the time you spend with Herman today, Soros, you don't have enough time necessarily to start that training today, but he kind of just wants to do almost like a check-in. He has you move through some of your katas. He's interested in some of the differences in what you were the way you were trained and the way that the Monastery of the Third Eye trains. And so you do a little bit of sparring with him, kind of back and forth, and you have an opportunity to kind of see the way he moves and the way he acts. And it's really interesting, like when you get to the sparring section, there's a moment where he goes to punch you, and you could almost swear that the light, that the tattoo that shimmers in the light literally like glows for a second before he makes contact, and that punch is a little bit stronger than the last one that he landed on you. So it's almost like this something in his tattoos that's empowering his abilities.
Gotcha.
But you can talk to him or ask him anything throughout the course of the afternoon. So if anything comes to mind, you've got Herman at your disposal.
Thank you.
All right. Heading back over to the library. Kaimana has not jumped off the balcony yet, I assume.
I'm sure there's things Kaimana would want to look up too.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to research, Kaimana?
Is there a book that's pictures of gemstones?
Right at that moment, a wolf kind of walks by you, Kaimana, as you're kind of thinking about this, and he kind of looks at you, and and kind of sniffs you a little bit, or not a wolf, a fox, and he kind of sniffs you a little bit, and then he shakes his head and he starts jutting off in a different direction. Do you follow him?
Yeah.
So he guides you around a corner, and when you come around the corner, he is up on his hind legs, and he's got his mouth on a book, and he pulls it out, and it drops on the ground, and then he sniffs the book, and then he sniffs you again, and then he goes back and goes down the stairs at the end of the hall, and goes down to the second floor. When you flip open the book, it's just descriptions of different gemstones and ores and minerals and things like that. The page actually opens up to like this really beautiful, like shimmery, like whoever colored this book used like metallic inks, and so like the blue veining in this like this sapphire gem like literally shimmers in the light. So you've got pages of that to look through. All right. So
that makes Abel happy.
So Abel with a 23. Naginda is also known as the Crashing Wave. All of the dragons, all of the named dragons like this that are known in legend were the first creations of the 9 gods after they defeated the primals and kind of brought order to the realm that would become Alyria. And the dragons were their first creations, kind of like the gods sang existence into being, and the dragons are almost like the embodiment of their song, and so each of their songs kind of individually. Naginda is Suvanar's dragon. He's known as a sleek dragon with ocean blue coloring, kind of gills and fins, a longer serpentine body than most dragons have. He was most known for he is known as the carver of rivers. He is said to have been the one that carved out all the major rivers within Alyria when they were forming the land. He also treats one of the other dragons, Kamseen, as his brother, and the two of them, Kamseen's the dragon of air. The two of them would fly through the air together, bringing storms across the land to water crops and plants and things like that. But during the subversion, Naginda is most famous in the Battle of the Subversion. He's the reason why the Tidelands, which is the area in the low country of Alyria, why the Tidelands flood so often, is that during the subversion, Naginda summoned a tsunami that just like washed over that area and took out a huge chunk of the armies that were invading Alyria at the time, and he washed them away. But the energy of summoning that tidal wave forced him into a slumber, and he sank to the bottom of the ocean and has not been seen since.
And that was during the subversion.
Yeah.
Some of the tidal wave.
Just like all the other dragons, after the subversion, all of the main dragons have disappeared, with the exception of Sumat. Sumat's the only one where anybody knows where they are.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm kind of curious. Does it say anything about the children of these dragons and like further generations, their power level and their temperaments, just in general? Some known dragons and their descendants.
Yeah. In general, the books that you discover that discuss the main dragons don't go into detail about their lineage, beyond saying that while the original dragons, and there were 12 of them, are immortal and are considered demigods, that their offspring did not get the same gift. That they are mortal, they live long lives, they live dragon long lives, but they are not immortal. But they for the most part, followed the order and structure of the main dragons, who are called the Empyrean. But since all of the Empyrean are now gone from the world, or as far as we know are missing, their offspring have been free to exercise their powers in new ways without their parents' oversight. Which is kind of what you saw with Tiernan.
Okay. I guess I'll just spend the rest of the time reading about as many of the dragons as I can.
Okay. I will send you all the information about the main dragons, and you can choose to share that with anybody that you want to at some point. So I'll send you some information about all the dragons.
Okay.
But the two that you guys have specifically had kind of pop up in the conversation is Derevo, who's also called the Constant Gardener, and he was the dragon of Tanatsa, and then you've had Naginda, the dragon of Suvanar.
Cool.
All right. Mar, for Azalor, you, with your 11, all you find is a general history that it was a city that was founded by Tritons and Sea Elves, and it was kind of the favored town or community of Suvanar. They had two major locations. They had Azalor, which was at the bottom of the sea, and then they had Suvanarion, which was his island nation that was their own kind of island nation. Suvanarion is gone. It was swallowed by the Veil. But Azalor is at the bottom of the sea, and nobody has had interaction or conversation. Like the latest date that you were able to find that mentioned it was over 150 years ago.
Oh.
And since the subversion, it's either closed itself off or the city doesn't exist anymore. One of the two.
Right.
However, with curse breaking, 15, you find several volumes on the idea of how to deal with ancient curses on ancient items and tombs and things like that, and the various methods of breaking or subverting a curse in that sense. You kind of throw that aside, realizing that that's not the kind of curse breaking that you're really looking for. There are a few moments where you stumble across conversations about the blood curses. And it actually leads into a conversation about the Blood Hunter orders, that they were birthed from various different blood curses that were then harnessed as a form of power versus a form of weakness. You don't find any mention of your order in any of these books, but the other two orders are both mentioned. And the conversation kind of goes with that. Through that, they discuss the curses as things that are permanent and unchangeable, and learning to harness it was the only way to control the curse, as far as you're able to discover.
Cool. Mm-hmm. I slam the books down and I go back to look for the others.
Okay. All right. So eventually, you guys kind of all... your training, your searching, your hunting, your things kind of come to a close. And at one point, Kaimana, as you're looking through the book, a young man kind of comes up, and he's probably like 18 or so, freckly face, the faintest hint of facial hair, like a blonde mop of hair. And he comes up, he says, "Are you with the Adventurers Guild?"
I'm one of the ticket takers.
Oh, thank goodness. I was sent by Vitorum to interview you about the history of the ticket takers and the Adventurers Guild. Are you available to kind of tell me some information? We want to write it down so that we can add it to the history of the local area.
Yeah.
Okay.
More than happy. All you need to know.
He pulls, from his back, a small little, folding chair. He plops it down immediately, opens up a book, puts it in his lap, takes out a quill, and he's ready to listen to you tell the history of the ticket takers, as Kaibana would tell the history of the ticket takers.
Well, it all started many, many, many hours ago. There was myself, there was Mar, there was Abel, there was a wonderful man in Wash Fjord. I'm not sure how you spell it.
I'll do my best. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And our friend, the rat.
The rat? Okay. Does the rat have a name?
Yes.
What is it?
I think we should get his full name.
Oh, okay.
I have a little nickname that I call him that he may not want made record.
Oh. You can tell just me. I won't write it down.
Oh no, stop.
Oh. I'll put the quill away. What is it?
No, anyway, you distracted.
I'll just leave this part blank and we can fill it in with his name later. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
So, it all started when I was minding my own business at a festival, perusing some items. And I was approached by Mar, who told me I was very handsome. And how
It's canon.
and how they required my talents. That I was very, very skilled with what they didn't mention. Anyway, from that point forward, we went to a kind of competition, and this was where we as a group had to prove ourselves worthy of the Adventurers Guild. Now, it wasn't, well, I was going to say it wasn't hard, but the other guys seemed like they weren't having a good time.
Did you know what their name was? I know that you are all the ticket takers. What was their name?
It was something intimidating sounding, like Courageous Battlers or something.
Courageous Battlers? Okay, I will write that down. The Courageous Battlers, okay?
I'm just guessing.
Yes, that's fine. We'll stick with it. That's how history is written.
Okay. You know, it occurs to me maybe the others should be here right now.
Oh no, I was told specifically that I could just speak with one of you, and you're here, I'll just talk to you. You seem like the best source of information for this.
How long have you worked here?
This, you know, just a couple years, a year, 6 months. I started 3 weeks ago. Oh no, that's it. That's the entire history of my time here. I've worked here for 3 weeks. This is my first scribing task. They told me to interview a member of the ticket takers, and they were very specific. A member. Yes.
Right.
Surely they didn't mean I should interview all of you, right? That's what they meant by that. Is that correct?
Well, I know that Abel writes a lot of things down.
Abel. Oh, right. Yes, Abel. Okay.
And, I mean, I'm not a professional at this, but I would think that if he wrote things down at the time, it might be more accurate than my noggin.
Oh, they said an interview. Do you think I should try to go for like an accurate like history with like citations?
Isn't that your goal?
I don't know. I thought it was like an oral history. Now I'm questioning my entire purpose.
Well, I'm from, all history is oral.
Is it good history?
No.
Oh. Well, that's...
We have a mountain that the stories say is taller than the clouds, and I climbed it in an afternoon.
Were the clouds beneath you?
No.
Oh, well then they
I was
lied.
very disappointed.
That's very disappointing. Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from a place called the Vanishing Isles.
I've heard wonderful things about the Vanishing Isles.
True.
Was it Did you climb the volcano there? I don't remember the name of it. Did you climb the volcano there?
Oh, that was I think the one they would always tell stories of is Mauna Loa.
Oh yes. And you climbed Mauna Loa?
Yes.
Oh. So it's not as tall as they say.
No.
That's disappointing.
Yes. What's for me too? It looked big.
Well, from anybody's perspective, a mountain is big, right? Yeah. Well, I think I can get the gist of the story from you, and then perhaps if they're not happy with it, I can interview others. But
okay, that sounds good.
So you guys competed in a challenge against this other group, and then you won apparently, and then what happened?
Well, then we were tasked to go on many adventures by the Adventurers Guild.
Okay, and you were apparently very successful in all of those, and then
oh yes,
and you came back and you were the founders of the guild, and
yes, that's right.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. This is apparently chapter 1. I look forward to recording more of your adventures as you explore and expand your names.
Well, I'll be happy to update you whenever I'm back in town.
Oh, yes, or you could write me a letter. You could update me that way. If you could get... You said Abel writes. You could get Abel to write me a letter. My name's Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan, you can...
Where do we go find him? I know he was over there earlier.
Okay, and so he kind of closes his book, and he puts a little sand on the page before he closes it, and then puts what looks like a protector sheet to cover that before he closes the book, so that the ink doesn't go everywhere. And he puts the book in his pack, and then takes his little chair and puts it in his pack, and then he follows you around, and you find Abel surrounded by books.
This book back.
Oh, the foxes will take care of it. And he whistles, and a fox comes by and grabs it and pops it back on the shelf for you.
I'm obsessed with these foxes, man.
And then he follows you around, and you guys find Abel sitting with a stack of 10 books around him, and he's just kind of sitting there reading through. And then so Abel, you look up, and there's Kaimana, and then this young 18-year-old kid.
Hey, Abel.
Kaimana, I see you have found a friend.
Yeah, can we borrow your notes?
I wasn't aware I was taking notes, but sure. I believe Ma, she's always writing in her little book. Maybe she could help you out. I see her a lot writing. I'm British.
I was wondering what happened to your accent.
Took a fun twist there.
Yeah.
I think Ma has better notes than I do. I don't know where she hurried off to, but if you and your friend are doing a project, I think Ma is the person to talk to.
Yeah, she ditched me.
I'm sure she did not ditch you. Everyone in the group loves you, Kaimana. Maybe she didn't realize she was walking too fast and she lost you. But if you would like, I'm planning to maybe get everyone together and see if we can have dinner together. So if you want to help me find Ma and Torres, we can go off and invite your friend Jonathan to come with us. Eh?
Yeah. Would you like that, Jonathan?
Yes, I think meeting all of the ticket takers, that seems like that would get extra credit. So I think that seems like a good thing. Yes.
Good thing.
Okay. Give me another hour, and then we will go and we will see if we can have dinner together.
Okay.
Okay.
Jonathan.
Yes.
Why don't you wait for me on the ground
Oh, okay, I will. I will go down. I'll be by the circulation desk. Yes.
I'm going to try to find Mom.
Okay. So Jonathan kind of heads off with his pack. Go ahead and roll an investigation check as you're kind of searching for Mar. And Mar, are you still hiding, or are you?
No, I would have. The second I put the curse breaking books back, I'd be not hiding anymore.
Okay. So, investigation, come on.
3.
Oh my God. Okay. So you are going through the whole top floor, like another fox smells you, and then you're like, sweet, and then you follow the fox thinking it's going to take you to Mar, and instead it pulls a book off the shelf that's all about like the making of bread and buns and things like that. And then you're like, and then he puts it back on the shelf, and then you get down to the second floor and you're searching around everywhere and nothing. Mar, as you are sitting there kind of frustrated with your book, you watch Kaimana walk by 3 times, and each time like there's another fox with him, until eventually like the 4th time Kaimana walks by, it's almost like he's the Pied Piper, and there's just these foxes with like little books in their mouths trying to like help him find something, and he's walking by you again completely unaware of your presence.
Kaimana?
Yes. Who said that?
Hey, bud.
Oh, Mar. Hello.
What you up to?
Oh, just looking around.
Yeah, you can see that. Well, I'm done with this.
I found like 3 foxes.
That's impressive. Did you learn anything?
I'm sure I did, just like...
Sometimes, information takes a while to, like, settle in, So, maybe tomorrow you'll know what you learned.
Yes.
There you go. Well, I'm ready to wrap up here, if you are.
Yes, I'm kind of hungry. You want to head downstairs?
Sure.
Just give me your notes.
What? What are you talking about? You said, give me your notes? I mean, do you want the information I took on the underwater city? I mean, I can give you that.
Well, I was thinking, did you keep, like, a good record of our time together?
No.
Insight check.
Alright, no, it's not like that. Like, I just, I assumed I would remember that, so I didn't feel the need to write it down. I mean, like, I have day-to-day notes, which is basically, like, killed Soren, and then, like, stuff like that, but it's not detailed.
I'm not good with time.
Okay.
And
so we just need a timeline of the 2 weeks we've spent together, I think it is now. 5 days? Yeah, it's been 5 days.
Yeah, like, there's a guy, and he, like, wants a history of us.
Why?
Because he's new and he wants to impress.
Okay, well, sure. Yeah, we can talk to him. I think I can remember what happened in the past 5 days.
I mean, I remember we had sweet buns.
We did several times.
Was that yesterday?
That was actually, you know what, I'm gonna say that's probably the highlight. That's the thing we've done most consistently.
There were sweet buns, we got tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I still have that snow globe around here somewhere.
Uh-huh. Are those your personal highlights of our time together?
Well, I mean, they're what I remember first.
Right. Works for me.
Should I be thinking of something else?
No. No, I very much like the way you remember things.
I mean, I remember meeting you.
I'm gone.
I remember meeting you too. I didn't think it would work out as well as it did, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew from the moment I saw you that I could trust you, inherently. And I have a good mind for these things.
I don't think everyone's ever looked at me and thought that before.
Well, they are all fools.
Thanks. All right, let's go find this guy.
All right, so depending on did you have goals for your dinner, Abel, or were you just wanting to gather the fam together for dinner?
I just want to gather the family.
Yeah, and I would relay the contents of the letter and then everything we learned to everybody, including Soren.
Yeah, make sure of course yeah, that's I think the point. Yeah,
okay.
We'll all get together, make sure we have our information collected.
All right. So you guys, at some point, Herman, finishes training with Saurus, and he lets you know that there are spaces open in one of the dormitories. If you guys would like to, there's 3 rooms available. That they have a general kind of open food policy where there's cooks who make food, and anybody who's present on campus is able to get it. So it's kind of like buffet style, and so you guys can sit around. You share information about the letter.
Yep.
With Source.
Yeah. All right. And if there's anything, go ahead, Abel. Yeah.
I was looking back at the items that we got from our battle.
Yeah.
And one of them was, I had to double check this with the DM off camera, but was the Zephyrite crystal?
Zephrysite, yeah.
Zephrysite crystal.
Yep.
And apparently those are mined exclusively in Nuevia.
Yes.
So I would have brought up the fact that, those are exclusively in Nuevia, and we use those to power a lot of our technology and magics. And it's odd that this person that we defeated in battle would have had one of these crystals. So that's a little concerning for me.
Does it look familiar to me?
You go ahead and roll a history or a nature check. Come on up.
I love Kaimana's rolling face. It's really good.
That's a 14.
14. It looks similar to other gems that you've seen before, but this, while it looks like, it kind of looks like a sapphire. It kind of looks like a lapis lazuli. It has those elements. You can sense just from your own druidic magic essence that there's something magical about this gem that is very unfamiliar. You've never come across this specific gem before.
Yeah, I just mentioned it to the group, and that's a little concerning to me that these bad guys would have had this crystal, because I guess it's a very well kept, very well guarded resource in Nuevia that we mine.
It's also the second time that you've come across people with it that were not Nuevian.
Yes, when my airship was attacked by those bad guys, they had. I guess I'll tell the group this too, because it'll be hard for me to remember, and it's easier if I tell you guys so you can remember. When I was leaving Nuevia and coming to Alyria, when my airship was attacked, they used what were jetpacks and gauntlets that were powered with these crystals. But none of the people who attacked us were recognized as Nuevians, so they should not have had access to these crystals.
Woof.
No.
Yeah.
So they should not have had vibranium.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
There you go.
Someone had to make the joke.
It was Ulysses' claw. You figured it out.
The whole mystery unravels.
Oh, the big bad is Ulysses' claw. Go. All right.
I just pictured earlier when I hit the thing and nothing happened. It's like I just punched the Black Panther suit.
Yeah. Over, like, just as a little thing, Source, over the time he showed you all the different dummies, he could make them like immune to fire damage. He could he could alternate all the different things and cycle through. So their training dummies are specifically about teaching people to be able to like pull out the essences of what these are magically kind of giving off. Yeah.
I'm picturing like Disney World's test track, where they have all the test dummies and they like just shoot them through fire and they're like flying and stuff like that.
Yes. All right.
I'm definitely curious about what I'm gonna ask Source during our little dinner, like what he learned and what he did, because he's an interesting character to me.
I hit things.
It is your specialty.
Yes. There's a peace of mind that comes when you're in the forms.
Maybe we could all benefit from some of your training, yeah?
Oh, cheers. I'm the happiest I've ever been since we beat Soren, honestly. It was great. It was a great battle.
Soren is...
Sorry for starting that off without warning you.
No, it was a great kick.
Yes, I appreciate you taking the initiative.
Yes, and it was a deliberate choice, not a loss of anger, just so you know.
No, he had it coming.
It seemed to be the conclusion. Go ahead, Kamala.
How hard do you have to train to get the boomstick?
How what?
How hard do you have to train?
I'm still not the master of it. I'm still learning how to use it.
All right, cool night, guys. I go to my room.
She's just not a people person.
Did you leave your journal?
No.
Sorry, Jonathan.
All right, Jonathan is there. Jonathan has just been taking notes the whole time as you guys have been talking.
Oh my God.
Some of the stuff Jonathan probably should not speak.
He's gonna write an August Osage County of like this group.
Freaking, what do you call them? TMZ.
The Adventures of the Ticket Takers by Jonathan Dale.
Sexual tension between Source and Mars just out.
Oh God!
No.
He misread the situation.
They always get those stories wrong.
Oh, Tom Wolfe, yeah.
I could just see Mara and Source looking at each other and just going,
Yeah.
All right, so as you guys are there, if there's any other conversations you want to have, we can pick that up after our 10-minute break really quick. But otherwise, we can also kind of fast forward to waking up on the day of Ascension. It's up to you. But we will go ahead and take a quick 10 minutes, and we'll be back then.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Ken.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tin. All right, so welcome back from the break. So if there was anything else you guys wanted to do at dinner, or did you want to go ahead and just make it an evening?
I don't think there's anything else to discuss.
All right.
No, I think we're good. Oh, I would like to, just really quick, I would like to attune to the Rapier of Wounding. Because
All right.
I have to do that.
Before you go to sleep, you have time and you attune, and that's easily taken care of. I think, Rob, you've attuned to the bracers, and Kaimana, I guess you've had time before to attune to the staff if you wanted to at some point. So yeah,
I think Headband of Intellect is an attunement. It is.
It is. Yeah.
I was studying. Maybe I would have.
We all sit in our room across from each other and started tuning to these items.
Yeah, and they did give you guys 3 rooms, so you can separate however you wanted to with them. Yeah.
Can I,
Furries forever.
I'm alone at night.
But you do get a long rest tonight too, so which is your first rest after Soren. So
Yeah.
Let me mark that. While I'm in my room alone tonight, I'm gonna pull out the gauntlet thing that I swiped that I was working on, and I'm gonna see if I can fit that crystal that we got off the bad guys into it as a power supply.
The casing for where the crystal would go is too small. The crystal's too large to fit into it. You would need to cut it in some way.
If I found someone who I have to spend an hour, I could make jeweler's tools. If I spent an hour making jeweler's tools and then attempting, would I still be able to get along to cut down the crystal? Would I still be able to get a long rest?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you guys probably went to your rooms late afternoon, so.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking it was like later. Well, I'm gonna spend an hour of
late
my
evening.
time
Sorry, yeah.
using the right tool for the job ability and make a set of jeweler's tools.
Okay.
Using my tinkerer's tools, I guess.
All right, and then you're gonna try to cut the gem to fit the gauntlet.
Yes.
Okay. We
blow up the barracks.
All right, so go ahead and roll an intelligence check and add your proficiency. Are you proficient with jeweler's tools?
I am proficient with glass blowers, smiths, thieves' tools, tinker's tools, and wood carver's tools.
You're not proficient, so you would have to. You would just be a roll with your intelligence to see if you could cut it properly without damaging the gem.
You guys pray for me, because it's freezing up.
That's always a good sign.
I got a. Okay, I always have to, it's a 19 plus 4. I'll wait for the little black box to pop up in the corner.
Yeah. All right. So it takes you probably a couple hours of careful cutting and maneuvering to get it to the right shape, but you do eventually get it. It's a multi-sided slot, and you're able to cut the gem properly. You do damage elements of it as you're cutting, but they're parts they're kind of broken off. So this that remains is the core of the Zephrysite. It's all that's left. But when you pop it into the gauntlet does activate.
Okay. All right. I'm very pleased with myself. I'm gonna stuff it in my little bag of holding and wait for the morning.
Do you leave the crystal in the gauntlet, or you take it back out?
I guess I'll take it back out.
Okay, so you remove it and separate it. Okay, cool. All right. So the next morning, you guys sleep in a little bit. You had a long, hard day yesterday and a lot of things. But as you are awakening, you hear outside the sound of music. You hear the sound of laughter. If you're looking out a window, you see that the grounds of the monastery are much more active. It seems like many of the local townspeople of Broadsfield and maybe other surrounding communities are present. And as you all kind of gather, it appears as if the day of Ascension festivities are upon you.
Mm.
I've never been to one of these.
I'm so excited.
All right.
Let's go see if they're giving tickets out for anything.
All right. So you guys head out of the dormitory, and they are offering kind of like a grab and go breakfast, very simple stuff. So you could grab some muffins or things like that. Noticing that there's no meat offered at the dormitory. Apparently the monastery is vegetarian, and so so Mars happy, but but then you kind of head out.
Bacon.
Yeah, and
Hide the pocket bacon.
hide it.
It's just
Don't let them
Hey, below.
steal pocket bacon.
And as you guys leave the dormitory, the first face you see is Jonathan, and Jonathan is kind of out there, and he's like, "Oh, so you guys are hanging around for the Day of Ascension? It's one of the biggest days of the year here. There's so many things. Those tents over there are the food stalls," and he kind of points in one direction, and he says, "And then those 3 tents over there are the performance spaces where the bards and the storytellers will be performing throughout the day. And then that tent over there is the fortune teller, Lady Ms. Mira, and the Halls of Origination have set up a booth where they are showing off some of their tools and things, but they're also doing the fireworks show later this evening. And we had a late entry of people from a local community far away, from the town of Starfall, which is new for us. They chose to set off a little bit of ways from the main grounds, but you'll see their tent is kind of the reddish tent with the gold brocade, and it's off in the other direction as well. So
what's happening over there?
What are they doing?
I'm not sure. They just put in that they were there to share information with others about the community of Starfall, which they're building up. We don't actually have a lot of reference to them in our library, so we thought it was an interesting opportunity to see this new community and this new group of people who've kind of gathered together, and so they're sharing information about their community there.
Starfall. So we have the fortune teller, the
fortune teller.
I think Mara should go to the fortune teller.
There's the fortune teller, food stalls, readings and performances, and then the halls of origination and the Starfall people.
Went to the artificer people who do the fireworks.
They're going to do fireworks later on, but they're showing off some of their inventions beforehand.
Okay.
I want to go to the fortune teller.
Yeah.
They're probably just gonna tell me, like, I'm gonna have 4 children in my life, and I'm gonna go, like, not possible, cool, bye.
Well, I'm kind of curious to see maybe some of the adventures that we may embark upon in the future as a group. I'm curious to see what a fortune teller might say
and
about.
Considering she's a member of the Order, it doesn't seem to me like she's doing it for charlatan purposes.
Do
Give it a shot.
Do we have to go together? Do we all have to
No,
sit
we
in
can
the
go
room
in
No, Ma,
together?
we will not force.
No, your fortune is yours.
Okay. Fine.
So you all head over to Lady Mizmira's tent.
Yes.
Sorry for the train.
Yeah, it's a beautiful tent. Kind of violet, purplish ombre with kind of eye motifs everywhere and kind of dangling beads. The moment you enter in, Mar, immediately the smell of incense kind of comes out. And just in the center of the tent, there's a circular table with just a mat on it and a deck of tarot cards. And in the back, you see a woman who's taller than you, very fair of complexion with this dark raven-colored hair. She has some kind of feathers on her robe, and it's a dark velvety black. And she's wearing a very purple black lipstick and really expressive eye makeup. And she turns to you and says, "Welcome. I'm Lady Mizmira.
It's Stevie Nicks.
Are you?" Oh, yeah, it's 100% Stevie Nicks. That's exactly who she is. And she's, "Welcome. I'm Lady Mizmira. Are you here for a fortune reading?"
Yeah.
Please.
We're not there, right? Like we're outside. Right?
Have a seat.
We're outside.
Yeah, you guys hang outside.
Okay.
Have a seat. First, she reaches out with her hands like this, and she's like, "Can I see your hand?"
Fine.
So she puts you put your hand in her palm, and she puts her hand on top, and for a moment she kind of closes her eyes and she's thinking. She rubs your hand a little bit, and she's like, "Interesting. Would you like to cut the deck?" And she references to the tarot cards there.
I guess so. I can do that.
All right. So you cut the deck, and then after you cut it, she kind of seems to pray over it for a moment, and out of nowhere, this music starts to play in the room. This kind of wavy, reedy instrument music, and she mindlessly starts to shuffle through, and then as she's shuffling, first one card falls out, and then a second card, and then a third card. And let's see what you pull. I've got an actual like app for this. So the first card out is the Eight of Swords, and that pops down, which is, and she says, "This is your past." Then the second card that pops out is the Page of Wands, and it's upside down. She says, "This is your present." And then the third card is the Queen of Swords, and that pops out, and she says, "And this is your future." She looks over them for a moment, and she's kind of analyzing and thinking about it, and she says, would you like to start with your past, your present, or your future?
I'm sorry, the loudest train in existence is going by right now, so I keep muting. I guess the past?
The past.
Just go in order?
So she kind of goes over the Eight of Swords, and she says, it seems as if you are trapped, imprisoned perhaps. But this prison is not one of another's construction. It is self-imposed. You are bound by your own sense of failure, your own sense of your own mentality and victimhood. The card points to the danger of negative thoughts and the negative energies which they create. Of course, this is your past, a world that you've been in for time before now. She then kind of motions towards the present card, and she says, now the Page of Wands shows a lack of direction, a uncertainty about movement, the correct motion to go through, a desire for conflict for the sake of finding meaning, perhaps fed by this self-imposed imprisonment, a desire to break free from it, a desire to find a source to free yourself from what your mind creates and causing conflict to do so. But your future with the Queen of Swords is interesting. Your past and your present are so clouded by mistrust of self, but the Queen of Swords represents clear-mindedness, a sense of freedom and empowerment, a female bearing a single powerful blade with which she can pierce the truth and find freedom. I see greatness in your path, regardless of the storminess of your present and your past.
Are you done?
Oh, yes, it's just 3 cards. That's the reading, yes.
Cool. Thanks. Bye.
You walk past the tip jar, like, you head right out.
Tipper, I'm not the fucking worst.
She kind of...
I drop like a silver in there.
Good.
You know, I know I'm an asshole.
She magnanimously
but you're not that much of an asshole.
And sends you on your way. And she kind of for a moment, she says, one moment, I feel this is important. And her hand reaches out and she slides to you that the past card, the Eight of Swords, and she says, as a reminder. And she hands you the Eight of Swords.
Fucked up, but yeah, that's my style, I guess.
That was an interesting random draw for
Hey, that was really on the nose, Josh.
Well, and I'm like, literally, like, that's what the app pulled up. So.
That's how Pterodactyls work.
Yep. All right.
You had that pre-planned.
All right, so Mar comes out of the booth, and you all are standing there eagerly waiting for her arrival.
How many children did she say you would have?
It was so weird. She said 10. 10 whole children.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Mana, you should find out how many children you're going to have. You should go in next.
Do you have litters?
Okay.
Hey, do you have litters? Like, do you have, like, a lot at once? Or is it, like, one at a time where you're from?
Okay, Mom.
Yes.
It's a very
Take a
personal
moment
question.
right now. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know a lot about everyone's culture here on the mainland,
Mm-hmm.
but I've picked up some things. How detailed do you want my answers to be? Also, are you sure you want an answer to that question?
You know what? I'll do my own research.
Good call.
But you've
I bet
intrigued me
Jonathan
on...
has some answers for you.
I go to find Jonathan.
Okay. So Mar
I
walks.
don't go to find Jonathan, I just leave.
Mar walks off, going Jonathan, like whispering it, but heading off
but
that
not
direction.
really. Like, I'm hoping he doesn't hear me.
Oh man, that's funny.
All right. So, anybody else for Lady Ms. Mira or any of the other potential things to explore?
I
We
would
should
like to
go in.
Kaimana, you go into the tent. When you enter in, when you walk in the tent, you immediately smell this incense. The central table there is there. There is a woman sitting in the chair. A diminutive woman, maybe gnomish in stature. She has blonde hair, short and kind of brushed across her face. And she's wearing a whitish color robe. And she says, "Welcome. I'm Lady Ms. Mira. I'm here to give you a reading. Have a seat, would you please?" And she says, "First, can I have your hand?" And she reaches out. She touches. She says, "Oh, it's very soft.
Cute little otter hand.
Well taken care of. Good, good, good. Would you like to cut the deck for me, please?" So you do, and then she shuffles it back together, and she focuses over it for a second, and with a wave of her hand, you see like boop, boop, boom, 3 cards kind of fly up and then land out on the table. And let's see what we get for Kaimana. She says, "The first card is your past, the 4 of Wands. The second is your present, the upside down 3 of Pentacles. And the third is your future card, the Knight of Wands. Would you like to hear about your past, your present, or your future?"
I guess my future.
Your future. Okay, so skipping forward to your future. The Knight of Wands is a representation of action, adventure, and fearlessness. Someone who has embraced the lifestyle of one who charges forth into the world on their noble steed and faces the dangers that might harm other people to protect, to serve, and to experience the adventures of life. So I see great adventures and journeys in your future.
Sounds about right.
Would you like to know your past and your present, or would you like to, or is just the future enough for you?
Well, let's see the past and then the present.
Okay. So your past, the 4 of Wands, is a card of community, of home. It's a card of establishing the bonds that form lasting life with family and friends. But it's also a card of seeing those things, because it's in your past, maybe behind you, or you've gone for other things, or you're searching for a new community. Which brings us to the present with the 3 of Pentacles in the reverse form. There's some elements of teamwork or team dynamics where you might find yourself trying to build a new family with those that are keeping elements from you, or are not revealing their full selves and not allowing you to be their full trusting partner. Thank you so much for joining. Have a pleasant day.
You too.
Yeah. And you leave, and she kind of waves past the tip jar as you go, but you walk out, or you drop a tip, or okay. All right. And she magnanimously waves you out, and you go out, and you're greeted in the sunlight again, and Soris and Abel are there.
What did you learn?
How was it?
It was nice. She's good. You should go in.
You next, Abel, or should it be I?
I let you go ahead. Go ahead.
I will go in next.
All right, let's see if the cards will do that. All right, so Soris, you walk in, and the smell that you immediately get is fruity. It's like almost like a fragrance of pineapples and citruses, and there's a bright light in here, and it's very homey. And there's 2 chairs there. There's no table or anything. There's 2 plush velvety red chairs. And when you walk in, there's a tall dragonborn female standing there, violet of color, and she says, "Welcome, I'm Lady Mesmira. Are you here for a fortune reading?"
Yes, please.
"Please, have a seat." And she motions to one of the chairs, and she says, "I do a 3-card tarot pick. Would you please bless these cards with whatever intention you would like for them to preach for you?" And she holds out the cards for you to bless in whatever way that you believe that you should.
And so I do.
All right, so you make some motion or whatever, and she pulls them back, and she shuffles through them, and as you're watching, like, the cards slowly seem to vanish until at the end there's only 3 cards in her hand, and she tosses them out in front of her into her lap, and she says, "Your first is your past card, the 9 of Swords. Your second, the present card, is the 2 of Cups. The third is your future card, one of the prime arcana, Justice. Where would you like to begin?"
Let us start with the past.
In the past, the 9 of Swords. This is a card that represents anxiety, hopelessness, and trauma. A card of the dangers of events beyond your control that have left a lasting and permanent scar on your soul, and not just on your body. Events that have shaped your journey and will continue to shape your journey in the future. The present or future?
Present.
Present. The 2 of Cups is a card of unity, partnership, and connection. A card of people coming together and breaking bread, sharing wine. I scrolled up. Oops. It's a sign of partnership and a building on the union of forces, a connection and balance of finding how your strengths can empower others while their strengths can empower you.
Thank you.
And the Justice card for the future?
Yes, please.
While many look at the Justice card as potentially representing revenge or the potential for the return to balance of the scales, the Justice card is more personal. It's a card of finding clarity and truth within you. It represents perhaps overcoming past wrongs or past injuries or past failures and finding a new peace and a new harmony within yourself. I see perhaps that from the scars of your past, you may, with the benefits of friends, find closure that brings you the ultimate truth of what you seek.
Thank you.
She kind of nods and says, "Thank you so much."
And I leave and I dip.
All right, there you go. Really, these cards are completely random.
They're so good.
Like every time I hit the little thing, I'm like, okay, yep, he got the Nine of Swords. Interesting. Anxiety, hopelessness, and trauma.
If anyone watching this doubts tarot, well, now you don't.
Yeah,
and it's working for fictional characters.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's working on an app for fictional characters.
All right. All right.
So I exit and I say, April, it is your turn.
Did she give you good information?
It seemed accurate.
It's good to know. It's okay. I will give it a shot.
Okay.
Now,
so you walk in the tent, Abel, and immediately you're immediately reminded of a particular flower that blooms outside of your window near the castle in Nuevia. The fragrance that hits you is this.
I don't live in the castle. I just live near the
You live in a tower that's attached to the castle.
It's not in the castle.
But immediately it's a smell of home. And you see a woman dressed in very traditional Nuevian garb. She has large beaded necklace, metallic components to her robe, very similar to the way your mother dresses for her official court appearances. And she is a darker skinned woman with beautiful micro braided hair that's kind of pulled back, and she's tall and very elegant, and she says, "Thank you, I'm Lady Miss Mira. Would you like a reading?"
Yes, I would.
Please.
My friends say that you are very impressive with your talent.
Please, let us have a seat. And she motions, and there's just some pillows on the ground and some various kind of rugs and things. And she just, she sits down, and she says, "We could do a traditional reading of the bones, or perhaps we could do a tarot."
I will do a tarot.
Okay. And she, kind of in the sleeve of her cloak, she pulls out a deck, and she says, "Please touch and think on the questions that you would like answered."
Okay. I'll lay my hand on the deck.
Okay. And then she kind of pulls back and she shuffles, and then she flays the cards out in front of you and says, "Please just choose 3 cards in order and lay them out for me, please."
Okay. I'll choose 3 cards real quick. What do you think about it?
All right. And then you flick them out, and she says, "Past, 3 of Pentacles. The present, the 6 of Swords. And the future card, the 2 of Swords in reverse. Interesting. Where would you like to begin?"
You shall read past, present, and then future, please.
For the past was a time period of teamwork, collaboration, and building, perhaps learning new skills, developing new abilities, gaining from the strengths of others. It shows people building a new community, an archway in a church, perhaps. Let's see. It's a focus on a community of collectivity and the origins of that in your past. Your present, the 6 of Cards, is a card of transition, leaving behind and moving on. You have a community that you have built, and you have left it for something new, and you are on the journey to build a new community, perhaps of your own making and not of the ideas of others. Your future card is somewhat troubling.
This is not good.
The 2 of Swords in reverse. You will be faced with a decision that will cause you intense confusion. You will not be sure what the right answer is, but you must realize that this is now a choice of the lesser of 2 evils. That there is no right choice, only one that you must justify for yourself and those you love.
lady, I appreciate your talents and your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll go out now. Go ahead.
Oh, no, good.
Yeah. I'll drop a silver in her little tip jar.
She thanks you. And you go out. And Kaibana and Soren are there waiting for you.
Well?
She seemed very accurate about the past.
Yes.
The present. I don't know so much about the future. I feel like we can build our own future. Fortune tellers don't always know what that will look like. Well, I want to go to the Artificer tent if anyone wants to join me. But I think that will be my next stop.
Yeah. And with all of our futures told and not knowing what will come in the future, we'll go ahead and end there for tonight. And we'll pick up with the rest of the day of Ascension, which is the day of the full moon, in the next episode. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all. And we'll see you for the rest of this next week. Bye.
Bye.